What up, world? I'm sorry, depressed. I've been looking at these guys' lists, and I mean, what are you guys thinking? I, I can't wait to get into the show. You're at Get Right Fantasy. We're gonna be breaking down top wide receivers 2021 draft. I'm disagreeing with both your guys' lists. I'll let you know now. Talk to you after the intro. Anthony, Frank, normally I thank you guys for being here. This one,
I was gonna say we didn't even get a thanks this time.
yeah,
He's just
no thanks.
ready to argue.
I wish I could drop grades. Like once we get to the point where I could just like have a letter pop up on the screen, like you guys would be disappointed. Your parents aren't putting this one on the fridge.
Mike, edit that in.
So check it. Hey, get the F's rolling because we can't argue, right? We're all the same consensus. Davante Adams going to be #1 pick, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
no question.
Was it obvious or not obvious that he was like killing it every game? Like the dude was a ball hog, and Aaron Rodgers was obviously glad to feed him. So I mean, that's not going to change. Those two guys together, that duo is still happening. They got the same running back, like we've talked about before. They didn't change anything. They've only lost players, so I don't see that changing. You know what I mean? Like he's a beast.
Absolutely. Nothing else to say about it. Draft him #1. I mean, he's the #1 receiver off the board, clearly.
Yeah,
PPR or standard.
Tyreke Hill there, right? We all agreed they are top 2. Tyreek's not #1. He could be, things happen. Green Bay hasn't done anything. Once again, Green Bay front office, you guys suck. Worst in the league. Hey, you guys wasted my man's career. You got a Cali boy, went to Cal, and just gets stuck with Green Bay, who has done nothing for my man.
Out there in the cold weather. Yeah, and then he got all up in his head about it too. Thought he was a shit, and then couldn't repeat or do anything after that.
Shots fired.
I'm just saying. He got hyped.
He got no love.
He was doing his speech.
We're talking about Davante Adams, and this guy's just raining
I'm just
down
saying,
on him.
Talk about Dallas when he's trying to win the trophy over there.
I love it. I love it.
Calm down. Just check yourself.
Nothing's changing. This guy.
Ooh. Hey, as we know, it was a catch. Hey, we talked about Tyreek because obviously he's got Patrick. Same thing. He's gonna feed him. That's not a question. But now, hey, we got.
I might change my rankings just because you mentioned them. Obviously, they're interchangeable. They're 1 and 2s. I mean, you're splitting hairs. You know what I mean? Like you got the fastest guy in the NFL right there. Like, and he just balls out as well. I just think Adams is a bit stronger than him, and a little bit more clutch. Like he could get those tight passes, I think, and just again the strength that they could be able to just like get over on that the corner or somebody that's covering him or the double coverage. You know what I mean? I think that Tyreke Hill will outrun those guys, but doesn't have the size for it. You know what I mean? Like Adams does.
Yeah,
and Rodgers is being so smart when guys are jumping off sides, and he knows I'm going to throw the ball up, which is the most Rodgers thing in the world.
Right, everybody calls it that.
I can't stand that play when he's watching people run off the sideline. He's like, "Let me just hike the ball. Hurry up and hike the ball." I'm like, "Don't you guys know that this is what he does?" Like,
I still can't stop it.
I would get before the end of the sideline. I would just pull a hammy and fall down. And that way it's an injury timeout and call it.
Oh, they've tried.
The whole soccer thing that they've been doing lately anyways. Half the players, you see them catch them on camera and they're like, what happened to that guy? And then 2 of them fall next to each other and they're like, we butted heads.
Watch that compilation. Hilarious.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Definitely.
But I think after that, we hit Anthony's heart, guys. He's got a big heart. He's loved A.J. Brown. He's tried to pump him. We don't know if A.J. Brown's paying him. I like A.J. Brown too. Sometimes guys just don't pan out, but that's your #3?
Yeah, man. Like I said, man, I just think he's that type of guy. I think he's going to take that leap this year to vault in that top, 3 echelon. We see it
Purely
happen
based
every
off
year.
Philly?
Yeah, I mean, well, just based off what I've seen him do and the mistakes that he could correct. What I think, a lot of the times, a lot of the mistakes he made were because he's a young player. He has a lot of natural talent. I think once he learns how to harness that talent and really start putting it, into use, they have such a good run game that teams have to sell out to stop Derrick Henry. He's going to get a lot of opportunities to be able to connect and make plays. And the dude is huge. I mean, he's a big guy. He's what you want, in your typical receiver, 6 foot, 226, just a big dude. He has hands like crazy and they're going to give him the ball. He had over 100 targets. He was hurt
Just
in the
lost
beginning
his
of the
number
year.
2.
Yeah.
Just lost his number 2. Corey's gone.
Number 2's gone. And so, that's just
And
feed
that's
him,
why I
feed
didn't
him
put him
even
up
more.
there, because I think that's going to hurt him. I think
I
he
think he's
needed
going to
that
get
number
in
2
that.
help.
Well, if you look at the top guys there, you look at Adams, 148 targets. You look at Tyreke, I believe he's sitting there at about 130 something targets, 135. Stephon Diggs is in that 166. Hopkins is in that 160. I see AJ Brown taking that next leap, going from 106, getting those extra 30 targets to put him in that top 30 range as far as projections. So, and they're going to be good quality targets.
I'm
So
going
we'll
to stick
see.
with a reliable wide receiver and DK Metcalf.
Reliable.
They were killing it last year with him, and other than the first couple games, they just started targeting him, and it was early and often through most of the games. He ended up with 1,303 yards, 129 targets, as Anthony was mentioning, some targets and 10 touchdowns. I think he's, a good, reliable wide receiver at this point now. You know what I mean? Like, Russell Wilson doesn't look away from him that often, like, anymore. Like, he was his go-to man, and Russell Wilson actually threw more than all this scrambling that he usually did in the past and things like that. That he was more, more pocket passing this last season a little bit, not a lot, but I mean some, which led to DK's rise.
Can you guys imagine if they were on the same team? Oh,
Oh.
that's right. In college, they were on the same team. And you would think that would, right? Hey, you would think that would be unstoppable. Man, if we're throwing those grades out, Anthony, hey, you got to sell me a little more. Hey, because I'm not buying. I love AJ Brown. My opinion of everything. So, number 4, obviously we all have Diggs, right? Diggs is up there. The fact that he's number 4 is almost the most disrespectful thing. Seems like he could slide up in that 3 spot with the amount of targets that he got.
And where did you have Diggs ranked last year?
Exactly.
But my AJ Brown prediction's crazy. These are the things you have to remember. There's those guys who make those leaps. Look what happens again. I mean, 160 targets is what it took, which is again why I put him up there. But I drop him down a little bit because of the additions that they did make there in Buffalo. They did bring in Emmanuel Sanders, so that could take maybe 20 of those targets away, and put him a little more down in this range. Again, I'm still not disrespecting at 4, but again, I see somebody making that next jump in there, and again, my prediction happens to be AJ Brown.
Yeah. Hey, and that's the great part about watching our show is we look at things differently. I think they lose Corey Davis. I think that's going to hurt AJ Brown. On the opposite, you think that it's going to help him. That's why we're here. Funny
11
thing
touchdowns.
Is, somebody's got to be right.
Somebody's got to be
right. And I got a pretty good feeling on who it is, and I think it's going to be me.
3 different opinions.
And I'll just say, like, it's hard to argue some of these guys on the list. Obviously, Diggs should be up there. He's top 5 guy. You guys, we're singing a different tune. We know how high you were on DK last year. And Frank, you have, who I agree with, how are we not talking about D-Hop when we're talking about top 5? But you have Kyler Murray so high on your list too, Anthony.
Yeah, and But for the reasons that you guys kind of mentioned, there before, Kyler Murray's, a better running back. They did get him a little more help with AJ Green. Christian Kirk is going to be healthy, hopefully this year as well too. Fitzgerald's still going to kind of get in there and get his little, targets here and there. Obviously not fantasy relevant, but they've made improvements on the line. And the biggest question mark there, I'm sure we're going to get into, is going to be Chase Edmonds. But to me, I don't think he's just gonna pepper him, with all those targets again this year. So I think that's gonna come down a little bit. I think they're gonna try to spread it out. I think they're gonna try to run it a little more and not put him at risk. And, again, if he can make that happen, I'm not doubting, Hopkins, talent. I think he's a top 5 talent easily. But given his situation, I think there's other guys, again, like I said, I have a little ahead of him. And we're not talking much. I mean, I have Hopkins at 6, so we're talking one spot lower. It's not complete disrespect here.
I disagree. I think that they're going to have better chemistry going into year 2 playing together. He had 160 targets last year, 1,470 yards. What else do you need from the guy? You just get a couple more touchdowns in there, and it's just that much sweeter. I don't think there's going to be a regression in this guy yet. He's got all kinds of speed. Obviously a true number 1 wide receiver, and is Kyler Murray's basically go-to guy. And like as you mentioned, Chase Edmonds, I think it will help keep Kyler Murray in the pocket a little bit longer and have not that rush to rush. That urge to just like run around and do everything to win win the game for the team. I think you could dump it off to Chase Edmonds, and I think that he'll be fine. Hopkins is stud, dude. Like, he's a stud. Let's not knock him just because he's on a different team. His production did not go down. It went up and stayed practically the same that he had at Houston. So I don't think that, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't see him falling off, is all I'm trying to say. I don't think there's going to be a downside yet.
Man, I get to see things that people behind the TV screen don't get to see. I have your guys' full list. I can't wait till we get to break down guys who I think could push that top 5 list. I want to see where you guys got Keenan Allen, Michael Thomas, Justin Jefferson, Julio. There's so many big name receivers out there. The lack of disrespect. I wish we could go to top 20 on this show. I'm ready for the next show. Thank you guys for being here. Let's break those down. We're going to have to get to the bottom of this.
Hell yeah.
Let's do it.